Here. Walker. Vice President Daly. Here. Here. Superintendent Press, is there any changes to the agenda? No. With that, can I get a motion to approve?
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Moving on to the minutes. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes of January 16th unless there's any changes?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
The board met in closed session. We have nothing to report out. And now that we're going to move on to our recommendations and combinations, and starting with the January student of the month. Oh, wait, you have something to say? Okay. It's like a high school.
I love those.
Okay. Start with a little
That's
levity.
Good start. Yeah.
Introducing, I'm Oceana Principal, Melissa Torres.
Thank you for having me here tonight, or having us here tonight. I want to just start off by saying that I feel honored that I get to read this, but many staff members have contributed to it, which just speaks to Chloe's reach. Chloe May possesses a combination of attributes that is rare among adults, but absolutely extraordinary when considering she is still in high school. Chloe has the ability to sit patiently and let in the information before taking her time to carefully assess the data and then react. However, when she reacts, she does so with a careful calmness that lets one know that they are in the best of hands. Chloe's intellectual capability and commitment to excellence were evident early on. As a freshman in mock trial, she distinguished herself as a remarkable attorney. Not only did she exhibit a profound understanding of legal concepts, but she also demonstrated a relentless pursuit of improvement. Chloe's skill for questioning and her dedication for refining her skills was truly commendable. Last school year, Chloe was an attorney for mock trial and helped propel the team to the semifinals. Her careful thinking, calm demeanor, quick responsiveness, and her deep intellectual insight made her a powerful attorney. However, it is not only mock trial that you see this. Chloe's intellectual gifts and careful approach made her a powerful thinker, speaker, and change maker in every context. And all of this is coupled with a deep compassion for others. Simply put, Chloe is amazing. In her junior year, Chloe achieved the unprecedented position of ASBC Vice President. This remarkable accomplishment underscored her leadership skills and ability to inspire her peers. Currently, Chloe serves as the Oceana High School Associated Student Body Congress President, a role she executes with unparalleled diligence. In addition to overseeing class officers and commissioners, she plays a pivotal role in shaping the school community through her editorial responsibilities for Oceana's weekly newsletter, Shark Bites. Every week, Chloe seeks out information to put on the newsletter, creates content such as flyers to better communicate to the Oceana community. Chloe's leadership extends beyond the school. As a San Mateo County Mental Youth Behavioral Health Co-Chair, she actively contributes to monthly youth committee meetings, fostering a youth-centric approach to mental health advocacy. Her dedication to increasing mental health literacy and empowering youth communities to address mental disorders is very impactful. Furthermore, Chloe serves on the Pacifica Youth Advisory Board, offering a valuable teen perspective on issues facing the city of Pacifica. This involvement reflects her commitment to civic engagement and her ability to collaborate effectively with adults in addressing real-life challenges. Chloe's volunteer work is a testament to her commitment to community service. From her role as a clinical lab specimen collection and management volunteer at San Francisco General Hospital to her dedication as a tutor with Healthy Cities Tutoring, Chloe consistently goes above and beyond to make a positive impact. Her participation as an election volunteer in the U.S. primary and general election showcased her firsthand engagement in the democratic process, further highlighting her civic responsibility. In an ongoing volunteer role at the SF Marin Food Bank, Chloe has contributed to promoting community service programs and enhancing operational efficiency. Her dedication to creating positive change is evident in the diverse tasks she undertakes, from sorting and distributing food to organizing facilities. Obviously, there are many things that can and have been said about why Chloe May is a Student of the Month, but there's one more example to share. This year, for her senior exhibition project, Chloe chose to analyze how the Supreme Court interprets the religion clauses of the First Amendment and how the current court's interpretation has changed. One of Chloe's teachers shared that the conversations that they've had with Chloe this year about her topic are always a delight. She asks questions, then her teacher asks her questions in return, and they consider the perspectives they might be missing. When people talk with Chloe, it's an intellectual exercise. She is passionate about learning and clearly an excellent choice for the Student of the Month. Chloe is an amazing young adult, and we are excited to congratulate her on being selected as JUHSD January Student of the Month. Congratulations, Chloe.
Oh, that's. Oh, you have it. I have it. I see. No, you're okay. Didn't know where it was. Thank you so much. No, is there anything you would like to say? No pressure if you don't like to say. We're just gonna have one so that they can
So YouTube can hear you.
Well, I'm very grateful to accept this honor. I love Oceana. I love contributing to Oceana. And this is just, one way to recognize all of that. But thank you so much, Ms. Torres. And JUHSD, I am very, very proud of the 4 years I've spent at Oceana.
Okay, stay there.
Okay.
I'm going to open up the public comment. First, our student trustees, if you'd like to address our January honoring.
So briefly, congrats on being Student of the Month. I would say that we do have a lot of participation and to be like a way to cover everything. So I'm really admiring you.
Thank you.
I just want to make you. I just want to say congratulations. You did a lot of hard work, which is good, and it's good that it's like you got recognition for that hard work.
First of all, congratulations. Second of all, she talked very well about you. And I do think you're an amazing student and you deserve this title. Thank you.
So Chloe, what stood out for me was, simply put, Chloe is amazing. You are amazing. And it's evident to me that everything you do is purposeful, meaningful, and impactful. And when you say how you said you're so proud of to be an Oceana student, it just the way you said it, I know you live that. And that's the thing that drives you. You love your school. And you are so poised and amazing. I just want to congratulate you for everything you've done, everything you're going to do, because I don't think anything can stop you from achieving your goals. And to congratulate your family for raising such an amazing child. I look forward to hearing more about. Please, you have to keep us posted on your future endeavors.
I will.
Thank you.
Indeed, congratulations. And you have an amazing resume, amazing body of work that you've achieved in such a short period of time. And I really am just so excited to see what you're going to do beyond the four walls of Oceana, beyond the boundaries of this district, because there's no doubt in my mind you're going to do something incredible out there. So congratulations to your family as well. Wonderful job.
Thank you.
Hi, Chloe.
Hey.
I first met Chloe when she was a fourth grader at Valimar School. I remember meeting her parents, Stephanie and Todd. I remember knowing that she had a younger sister, Gabby. My daughter was the new kid, And Chloe is one of the first people to befriend her, make her feel at home. I contacted a few people, including my daughter, about what she's done that you haven't heard about. And maybe some things I hadn't heard about. One person said that even as a kid, Chloe was part of every adult conversation, and I'd added to the dialogue with her wit and charm. Also, she's certainly going places, but Chloe will never be someone to forget her roots. Something I did not know, she's an avid basketball fan. Although I wonder why she's not wearing a Warriors gear tonight. She's also, I found out from someone else, an avid baseball fan. I found that out from her fourth grade teacher, who is very proud of you and remembers all the conversations you had about the ups and downs of the Giants. Sorry, I'm going between different media right now to get these comments together. Someone says you're incredibly kind to all those around you. You talked about you tutoring and teaching dance to little kids. You've been complimented on having a powerful voice, which I've seen when you did mock trial last year. I think you did it every year except for this one.
That's correct.
Right. And cares about the world and politics and how they connect with each other. A couple more sources, different email. Chloe is as memorable as they come from one of your teachers at Valamar. Sorry, I can't read. You're a highly deserving student, and she cannot wait to see where this journey called life will take you next. Also from the principal of Valamar, who was your sixth grade teacher. Yes. Chloe's as memorable as they come. We always connected over our love of, that's a wrong one. Sorry. That was from your fourth grade teacher, talking about baseball. So the principal of Valamar is going to make sure she checks out the presentation right now. Hi, Mrs. V. During your time at Valamar, you were always eager to learn and participate in all the school activities. She describes you as an excellent example for your peers and a wonderful role model for younger students. So that's everything I heard from everyone else. I'm proud of you. Congratulations. Congratulations to your family. I hope to hear about what you continue doing. Does that mean my daughter still knows you? So thank you for all you've done.
Thank you, Mr. Walker. I'm very fond of your daughter, by the way. And I appreciate you bringing up all of these past memories from my time at Valamar too. Thank you.
Chloe, congratulations. After everything that's been said already, I don't know if there's much left that I can say. The first thought that came to my mind after reading this summary of your accomplishments here was, what are they putting in the water at your house? Because you need to bottle that up, get it out there. I've always told my own children to lead by example, and I've said that here before. And this is, an exemplary instance of that. Somebody your age taking on all these roles and responsibilities, enjoying the process, and leading by example. So that's something to be proud of. And I know it's something as parents, that's something that we're more proud of than I think you'll ever imagine. So keep that up, keep grinding, keep leading by example, keep working hard. You're going places for sure. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yes, and just really quickly, greatness isn't a solo sport, and it's have a lot of support around it. So thanking the family and all the support that you've given to help her get to this place right here. I'm very excited to learn about how you move forward in this world. I'm always just amazed by high school students today. The pressures that teenagers have on them currently is insurmountable. The task that you have to complete in order to succeed are huge. And I'm always presented with so much achievement, so much success. despite all the barriers that adults in society continue to put in front of you. So thank you for persevering. And there's so many people that are pulling for you that you're unaware of. And you're just like, you will not know how much you will continue to inspire me and the work that I do. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
So, Chloe, I'm going to be brief, but from my personal experience, first of all, I just want to say somebody in here said conversations with you are a delight. And that's exactly my experience of you. You really are a delight. I don't usually talk about my kid in these meetings, but he has spoken so highly of how welcoming and kind you are to all of those around you. You're always there to help other people. And that I think is very special. That's from within you. So I want to thank your parents again for raising such a fabulous human being. And I also just want to say, I kept complimenting Miss Torres on those awesome shark bites. And she's like, it's Chloe. So you really, I mean, communication is really important to our district and to your school. And you have helped your principal to really do an excellent job of that. So thank you from the superintendent. Thank you. Because that really, and as a parent reading those weekly updates, I know that you contribute a lot to them. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. President.
Yeah.
So thank you. Go Dubs. If you just mind waiting a moment, we're going to do our next honoree and then take a group photo together. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, so up next is our fall sports championship recognition. And I'll turn it up to Superintendent Pressa to introduce our next honoree.
Thank you. And I'm actually going to turn it over to Austin Warden, our Director of Communications. Sure. Yeah. Okay. Wonderful. So, let me find it now. So the Board of Trustees is proud to honor Westmore High School 12th grader Erica Dorn for winning the title of cross-country champion of the Peninsula Athletic League and her advancing to the state finals in Fresno this past November. JUHSD would also like to acknowledge her coaches, Ron DiMaggio and Aria Park, for their guidance and support of Erica. A role model to her peers, Erica exemplifies what it means to be a stellar athlete on the playing field and inside the classroom. Way to go, Erica. You make JUHSD proud.
Oh, first, before we do that, Erica, I don't know if you have the opportunity to also speak if you want to, no pressure if you don't.
Would you like to see?
First of all, I just want to say thank you so much for having me come here today. I think it's just a huge honor to just be being invited to be awarded for my accomplishments at Westmore. I also feel really proud to be a Westmore student athlete. I don't think I would have been here today if it wasn't from my coaches and my friends and family supporting me all the way. And I honestly I never really was into running, but once I joined Coach DiMaggio's program, it made me so excited to just start running. And I didn't even know I can even do this well in running until something just awoke in me. Because of Westmore, it's shaped my future. I want to continue running when I go to college, and I want to continue it until I can at least get a scholarship. I've gotten many offers, and I just want to thank Westmore for that because they've shaped me to be the student athlete I am. So just thank you so much, Westmore, Jefferson District, for just honoring me. I wouldn't think I'd be here today without just all the support from all you guys. Thank you.
So again, I'll open up to my colleagues if there's any comments, starting with our student trustees. It's quite all right.
Okay, first of all, congratulations. I think you said some very inspiring words because that is very true. You don't know you like something so much until you try, but also you need like the motivation and like involvement of people. So having like the people around you motivate you and make you try new things really gets you to, love something even more.
I just want to say congratulations. It is incredible that you started with something that you didn't like and have grown to be this person who has been so successful with it, and even receiving scholarships, since it is so hard in this day and age to receive a scholarship for a sport, let alone an individual sport that is based out of what your body can do for you. So congratulations, both in and outside of the classroom.
So congratulations. I'm also from Westmore, so like I've seen like the practices and conditioning and track. I've always seen like you, no matter what, like you'll always be there. Like even though it's like raining, you guys will be practicing in the hallways, or like actual track and meets where it's like it lasts for like a really, really long time. So I just wanted to congratulate you on like your scholarships as well, and I'm so proud and happy for you. And I cannot wait to see what you will achieve in the future.
Thank you.
Erica, I'm just so proud of you, and someone who's had such a great accomplishment, and you're so humble, and you give the thanks to other people. You give them the credit, and that is a mark of a true champion, and you're going to go far with this. I'm sorry, I'm a little emotional. So Coach DiMaggio, he was my son's coach at Westmore. And my son also didn't know he was a sprinter. And then he became a champion. And that's his thing, is that you need strong people to bring out the best in you. And I want to thank the coaches, Coach DiMaggio, Coach Park, and to your family for all of the support that they've given you. And you're just an amazing young woman. And please keep us posted on what you do in the future. And I'm looking forward to seeing it. And you're going to go far. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yes, indeed. Congratulations on your achievement. Having run cross country back in the day, a long time ago, I know how difficult it is. And I certainly didn't come even remotely close to the kind of success you've had. So it's incredible to see what you've been able to do, to be able to be a champion and to be able to utilize that to further your education. So congratulations and good luck. Can't wait to see what you do.
Thank you.
A few pounds ago, I was on a college track team and I never ran a race farther than 800 meters. So I want everyone to understand that I understand the work that you do. Congratulations. Good luck in the future, and keep one foot in front of the other.
Thank you.
Erica, congratulations, coaches. Congratulations. That's a team effort right there. It's cool to sit there and be rewarded for something you put a lot of work into. I know that being a student athlete takes a lot of time, takes a lot of effort, takes a lot of sacrifice. Those times where you feel like giving up and you just dig. It teaches you something about yourself, and it's good to have a support system there to kind of push you along the way too when you really don't feel like doing that. But I think the real win here is that you found something that you love in running. So you're going to take that with you for the rest of your life, which is cool. So congratulations on this and keep working hard.
Thank you.
So again, both honorees remind me of why I do this work. And again, to have a space at our school district to be the space where you learn your own potential and see the possibilities within yourself. So having the courage to step into something that you've never done before and then excel to the point where you're a champion. Amazing. Fantastic. To have those people around you that help pull that potential out of you and support you through all the work. Because it's getting to this point was not a linear, right? I'm sure there was ups and downs, forwards. You have progress, you go back. But to always know that you have those people that support you. I'm just so proud of our district. And I hope that the lesson that you learned through all this is to always have that courage to step into things because you never know what you're capable of doing until you try. So I am so proud of you. Congratulations to both you, your family, and your coaches.
Thank you.
There's not much more to say, but I'm going to reiterate a couple of things. First of all, I'm super impressed. I can't even imagine being a cross country champion. That seems like incomprehensibly hard to me. And so I want to echo some of the sentiments. Taking up something that you didn't think you'd like and really excelling is very impressive. And it does teach you that you really can do whatever you put your mind to. So congratulations. I'm also really, the fact that you acknowledged others, the humility in that, like that really is, it's a beautiful thing because none of us gets anywhere without help from lots of people. And so that's really lovely that you acknowledged your coaches. And I want to thank your coaches. And Mr. Aarons is here for you tonight, your family. So I'm just really impressed by the people who are supporting you and impressed with your really hard work. And I just didn't have any idea because I did not play athletics in high school. I had no idea how much work it is to be a scholar athlete because you are practicing till who knows what time at night. You are doing so much work outside of the classroom and then you show up and do your best in school too. So I'm very impressed. I'm really excited for your future and congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations again. So what we're going to do is we are first going to take a picture. Yes, I know. So do you want to do the certificates for the coaches now? Or was Yeah. So what we're going to do first is take the picture with Chloe May's family, and then we'll do the pictures with everyone else. You want to flip it? Okay, never mind. Ignore what I just said. Yeah, go ahead.
I am not in touch.
No, it's okay. No, I was looking at, Austin was giving me the cue to flip it. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to have the cross country picture first. So Erica, if you want to come up with your family and coaches.
We have our coaches on the match.
Yeah.
Aria Park.
Yeah. 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 Okay.
Right now we'll have.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, no, okay.
All right, show those. All right, looking at me, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Perfect. Now, if we're gonna do things, we might have to more stuff. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, let's have our Logan and family and.
Really?
All right. There we go. 1, 2, 3. Thank you. Congratulations.
I never say a word. I gotta say something. I know. They even speak so high. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you.
All right, we're gonna come on back. That was really nice, and move on to our board reports, and starting with our student trustees. Jefferson, do you have anything to report out?
Okay, so yes, I do. Today we had our first rehearsal for Mission Fusion with Terra Nova. We're doing like a collaboration. So we both rehearsed together and it was pretty amazing. Kind of out of breath. But yeah, also our no name calling week just passed.
Keep going, you're fine.
Sports. So as we know, soccer season started a while ago, and we had our wins, we had our loss. We won against Cappuccino, yes, but we lost against Hillsdale. Those are the ones I'm keeping track of. So far, there's a lot more. Also, we just had our second Fruits Day a few days ago. Yeah. And again, coming back to Mission Fusion, Thursday, we're going to have our first act, but it's going to be for middle schoolers. So excited for that. And then open ticket would be for January 8th, 9th, and 10th. So pretty excited for the show, for the class, and to that.
Yeah.
And at Terra Nova, we are currently working on our play for this academic school year of Shrek. We have had rehearsals begin for the play in April, I believe. We also, our girls soccer team won tonight against Cappuccino, which is putting them in second place in their league. So they have a chance of going to CCS soon. We've Terra Nova ASB just finished their annual blood drive this past Friday. And we also finished our winter formal that we host every year through ASB. And I believe that's it.
So for Westmore, we just had a winter ball on January 20th. It was a blast. Everyone had fun. So upcoming events are Lunar New Year, Hearts, which are the Valentine's Day, and I believe What Club is going to be delivering grants as well. We are also working on a new bell schedule. So I believe the teachers are going to be working on it soon. We are also planning Black History Month food fair, and Red Cross is going to have a blood drive on February 16th. As for FBLA, which is a business club at our school, we are having a Bay section competition on February 10th. And I believe between these 2 weeks, there are going to be senior night sports, as well as ASB also planning a coaching drive. And I believe for tomorrow, I think there's middle schoolers that are going to come to our school, and then they're going to tour the CTV sectors.
I don't have much to report, but I attended the San Mateo County School Boards Association Board of Directors meeting, and they have a lot of things planned. But February 1st, we'll be sending out an application for the Kent Awards, and it'll be I would hope that we'll have several programs in our district that would be able to apply. And they're trying to start the application process early, so it gives our schools time to fill out the application, et cetera. So looking forward to that.
Not much for me here, but I was grateful to be able to participate with student advisory last night. First time I've been able to be a part of it, so looking forward to being a part of it over the next several months. So fun to meet you all and to see how you guys engage with each other and share info. So looking forward to doing it more. Thank you.
I don't have a report, but I do know that a bunch of schools in the district are right now competing in mock trial competitions. And next week, when there's no board meeting, you could check it out on Tuesday night.
I have nothing to report.
I also have nothing to report. Superintendent Prescott?
Thank you. I have a quick report. I just want to say that last week I was at the ACSA, Association of California School Administrators Conference for Superintendents. And it's always really nice to kind of learn from colleagues and learn from what other people are doing in their school districts. So it was really good. I was asked to be a panelist, which was an honor, but the biggest part that was the biggest excitement for me was that I got to meet the two people on the panel with me who were really great. So it was really nice to be down there learning from others. And I want to give a shout out to my executive cabinet, who last week there was a lot of stuff happening in this district, and they held it down solidly and really took care of principals and students and staff alike. So I want to thank them for that publicly. And then I too just wanted to give a shout out to our student advisory. We hadn't met since before winter break, and we're not used to that. We see each other every other week. So it was really nice. I think there was just an energy in the room last night with the student trustees, and Trustee Lee and I just really happy to see each other and to hear the work that they're doing. And it was a really good meeting. So that's it for me.
Okay. With that, are there any other subcommittees that anyone wants to report out on? All right, moving on to our AFT Local 1481 report. President Casey.
Thank you. Good evening. Just a quick report. Last week, we worked on negotiations with our AFT 1481 team. We heard the JUHSD first interim budget, as you all did in December. And we will try to meet with our CFT research director, Antina, to have some common understandings about the unrestricted funds. So we'll be doing that. And I just want to remind folks that we're negotiating for 3 years, 5 contracts. There's a lot to do. A lot of, a lot more of it is language, improving the language of our contracts, or taking the language of our contracts and making sure that it makes sense. Because sometimes it's very vague. Sometimes we want to keep it vague, but sometimes we want to strengthen that language. Our working conditions are our students' learning conditions, and that's why it's really important to have good contracts. I was in Southern California this weekend with CFT learning about best practices for bargaining contracts and how to grow our union leadership, which is one of the things we're trying to do. And I appreciate that the district is open to expanding our negotiations team so that more people can learn what we do in our union. And to our AFT 1481 members, please remember to check the website. There's updates. I'm trying to be better. And if you're interested in helping me with, I don't know what they're called, that's how bad it is, Instagram or, one of those types of things. Shush. I don't have that. Social media stuff. Give me a call and let me know, because it would be nice to have somebody that's, a little younger do that stuff for me. Okay. I think that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to consent agenda, unless there are any objections, can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, can you say aye?
Aye.
All right, moving on to public comment for this meeting. This is the area set aside for the public to address the board on any items that aren't on the agenda. Excuse me, I'm losing my voice as in the middle of the meeting. That's fine. I don't have any cards. I see no cards. Okay, we're going to move on
Yes.
to discussion items. The first item on discussion is to talk about the student trustee meeting participation. Turning it over to Superintendent Presto.
Thank you. I'll speak briefly, but then I'll probably just lob it right back over to President Salahuddin. So at a prior meeting, President Salahuddin asked that we agendize this to have a discussion about how student trustees might have more participation in the meeting. Last night, we discussed it at the student advisory meeting about, so I gave them sort of a pre-primer about the discussion for tonight, and just that they were that we welcome them to make comments on all items, et cetera, voting and all that. But I'm going to turn it back to you, President Salahuddin, since this was something that you felt strongly about talking about.
Sure. So again, excuse my voice. I've had allergy issues and now it's really showing. It's time to jump out and be present. So this is not anything that you guys are doing wrong. This is just more of saying that our trustees are quieter than, and so this is more when I see that happen, that's more what we're doing wrong. Now we can change the meeting so that we can get more participation, because it's very important to me. And the reason why the board moved forward with the trustee roles is because we want to get your opinions on things that directly impact you. Our students are our largest constituency. And you're here representing that constituency. And as somebody that's been on the subcommittee for the student advisory, I've heard the opinions that you have in the room. But board meetings are a whole entirely different animal. The way the meetings function and run, they're not conducive to like conversation and input because we're running on agenda. There are times when I'm confused about what's happening, as you saw earlier in this meeting, where I was like, when are we taking pictures? What's going on? So just having the discussion with you on how can we make things easier for you to be able to participate and give feedback, especially on items that directly affect you, what help that we can give. And then is there any more instruction or anything else that we can do to help with interacting inside a board meeting, especially since we've changed the format to where you don't come every meeting, so you don't get used to it. So like us, we are regularly at board meetings, so we get used to how it works. But if you're only in here every once in a while, it could be harder to get a groove. So that's pretty much what I want to discuss. Opening up to anybody else that has comments. And then especially you all as well, if you had any feedback on that you would like to give us, that'd be great.
So first of all, I really appreciate your involvement towards us. I think you're like right. Since we do as students who are currently in high school and having to deal with a bunch of stuff at the same time, and having a huge responsibility as being student trustees. We do have like our point of view, and I really appreciate that you want to see that and in the way of like improving our community. So that's on me. Like for me, if I like hear something like during these meetings, I will say something. So, but that's personally me. Like, I can understand that for other students who is like their first time here, can be like a little shy or something. Well, I would just say to get more involvement would be like, after a discussion, say, do student trustees want to add something? And that would be like more welcoming to us and be like, you guys are opening the door and we're like, okay, I can talk. So that's my comment.
I do just want to thank you and say, as a student, it's nice to have the recognition, and mostly from this board being able to, if something happens, I know at Terra Nova personally, if something is happening that I can find, like this past fall, we had a bunch of issues with the bees, and being able to contact the superintendent and be, hey, can we get a little more help on this because it's becoming more and more of an issue, is something I've never seen before on a board. And I'm really glad that I can be a part of it from a student perspective. I do agree with what she said about, personally for me, if I see something isn't the way that it should be from a student perspective, that I will speak what I think, because I think it's really helpful when you have students be able to say, hey, this sounds good from an adult perspective, but from one of the students, it doesn't sound as smoothly as it should be. So I just want to say thank you for all the help that you guys have given us with this.
Yeah, I also wanted to add on to Katarina's point of like how you guys are able to support us, and we really appreciate it. So well, my ceramics teacher, she had an issue with like the road outside of the ceramics room, and then thank you for Ms. Presta for being able to resolve the problem. But either way, I feel like the reason that we probably wouldn't be able to speak out as much is because we are like we're kind of new to this type of board meeting, because I know there's personally a lot of us that are first year trustees, so like we don't have as much experience as you guys, and we would probably be shy. For Westmore's, 3 out of the 4 trustees are like entirely new, so like we still need like time to get used to that. But I appreciate your like you putting this out, like this concern, because this would also be an issue that students might be afraid to speak of. I feel like it's more of like where, because you guys have your authority, so like students would be afraid to, but I hope that the situation would be improved in the future.
Yeah.
Thank you guys. May I talk? I spoke really quietly. I whispered to President Saludin. Thank you so much. You actually, something that I hadn't thought about was us asking for your comments. And so that is an idea that I know I hadn't thought of. One of the things that President Saludin and I talked about was when we ask for a vote, and we talked about this last night at the meeting, that student trustees have an advisory vote, or is that what it's called? Advisory? Yes. Yeah, an advisory vote. So really, that is one way that we want you to feel very welcomed when we have a vote, that you are included in that vote. So if it's a roll call, then we call on you individually. Most of the time, the president just says, all in favor, say aye. But you have a vote too. But that was something like calling on you. It's something that I certainly hadn't thought about. So I just want to say that's a great idea. Anyway.
Yeah, and that was another thing that I wanted to bring up too, was like your understanding that you are voting members, that you should be voting with us. Also on items that directly pertain to students, what we can do to help get that to you in advance, or just give you some heads up, like this is an item where it would be great for us to have student feedback, so that there is discussion on that agenda item in the meeting and you're prepared to come with comments.
That's a great idea. So what we do at the student advisory meetings, we do go over the agenda, but that's a really great suggestion, I think, for items that either spark interest the night before with the students to like talk about. Okay, do you want, what information might you need? What do you want to share in advance? And that there will be things that I think for us to really invite you that night before to, hey, we really want you to give some input on this item. Yeah.
And I said to the group last night, and I would just encourage you that when you see something that's confusing, oftentimes, just ask the question, because there really are no dumb questions, because edu speak is complicated and you'll hear a lot of different acronyms. And even for those of us who've been on the board a while, we still haven't figured out what those acronyms are necessarily. So if we're confused, clearly those who are watching out in YouTube land are also going to be just as confused. So you also represent that voice as well. So don't be afraid to ask any kinds of questions. Everybody is willing to make sure that you get the right answer and that we can all understand what all this actually means.
Mhm. Sure, go ahead. As Trustee Tata.
So, I've been working with student advisory for a few years now, and every group is different. But this current advisory board council, these student trustees are very lively, and you share your honest opinion. And I really love that. You're very hardworking. I think one of the valuable things that you can do is when you speak up in a board meeting is, there are often times that, we've had board meetings over the years where we won't ask the question because we're not students. We don't know what it's like for you. And it's the student who has a question that we would never think to ask because you're in the classroom. You know how that affects you. For example, one of the things was, our favorite subject, cafeteria food. The students, I don't eat in the cafeteria, but you guys really were very honest about what the food was like. And you were students were instrumental in enacting change. So you have quite a lot of power and your voice is really valuable.
Yeah, I just think it's important for you guys to remember that we're all here to support you guys. We're here for you guys. And, when you have an opportunity to use your voice to make change and to educate us on the things that are going on at your schools and in your lives, any way that you can, when you have a platform, whether it's here or in your student advisory meetings, take advantage of that. I know it's intimidating, but be courageous. It takes a lot of courage to sit up here and talk in front of people. Even for me, I get nervous and I'm an adult, and I don't always know what's going on here either, but we figure it out together. And as a group, that's what we're supposed to do. So, take advantage of these opportunities and really think about it coming into these meetings. Before you go into your student advisory meetings, just think about what you want to say. And don't be afraid to ask. Don't be afraid to say anything. Just speak. Closed mouth doesn't get fed. Remember that.
I want to make an allegory. I think it's an allegory.
I want to know what
You can all tell me afterwards. That's what I did.
Trustee Lewis had a question. Go ahead.
A Giants relief pitcher 10 years ago was talking about how he's getting older, his arm hurts, back hurts, and one of these younger guys needs to take his job. That's what he's talking about. He named the guy, he needs to take my job. So I don't think that any of you need to come sit in this seat, okay? But I think that your contributions kind of make this job evolve. So I get better at it. Whoever replaces me really soon also will get better at it because you have this unique position of working with us and also being part of the population that we serve. And from what I've seen from you being here and going to one student advisory meeting, I think we are blessed with your presence.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah, really quickly, I do think that part of the reason why I brought up to see if there's anything that we could change more, less advice for them. And so I think that another thing that we could possibly do is the way we do the agenda. I can't remember, there was a board meeting back where there was definitely something, but it was lower in the agenda. And I know at times the student trustees have to leave earlier because they have to get their homework done. So just being thoughtful about how we do the agenda and placing items on the agenda and maybe giving either an agenda planning or giving Superintendent Presta a heads up on items that we would definitely prefer or need student feedback to. just we can move those up on the agenda and also give the subcommittee a heads up to have a discussion about those before the meeting starts. And then the other thing is just looking at our current board policy on student trustees. It hasn't been updated in a while, I think, just to make sure that is reflective of current need and see if there's anything in there that we might need to change or move around.
Mhm.
And then I'll go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Those are really good suggestions that we can definitely do. I just wanted to finally say that last night we had a good discussion and the trustees thought about how to get more representation at these meetings and came up with the idea of kind of assigning dates to people far in advance. I actually was very proud. This was the first year that the night before they scheduled who was going to come. So that was an improvement already, I think. But they decided to do that. And then if the students weren't able to come, they knew in advance they could get somebody else. So that way, we're really grateful to you who come. And not all of the student trustees have come. So we want to make sure everybody's welcomed. So they came up with that idea last night. Yes.
I just wanted to say, I also agree with you guys, and I feel like this could have been improved. But I have one suggestion, which is probably we could model the actual setting during a meeting for student advisory. So then we actually get hands-on experience of how it feels to be on a meeting, because I feel like other than attending the CSB meeting, we didn't have a lot of experience and to learn how we should behave during a board meeting. Yeah.
Great idea.
So I want to say I really as a student, I really appreciate that you guys put this into the agenda, because it shows that you guys care for our opinion.
Mhm.
And I really like the word evolve.
Mhm.
One of the trustees said,
Mhm.
I really like the word evolve.
Mhm.
And it is true, because high school has been evolving throughout the years, the generation. So given our perspective to you guys, it can be I never thought of that. You just said, I never thought of calling you guys. You want to say something?
Mhm.
So yeah, just this little talk, you have more of a idea of how we, as the new generation, kind of shy, feel more welcoming.
Mhm.
No, that's great. And I think it was good to have the discussion before we did that, because we never wanted to put you on the spot,
Mhm.
but just having this conversation, knowing that that's coming in future meetings, that we will be, tossing it over to you first to have comment. And I do think that having a schedule on who's coming, because
Mhm.
not to devalue, but I think there's the value of being able to talk directly to the superintendent is kind of why do you need to come to board meetings? I mean, they're getting a lot of the fulfillment out of those meetings.
Mhm.
And so, but I think not forgetting the importance of the voice in these meetings as well.
Right.
So ensuring that they're scheduled in advance, I think is great, and that tracking attendance.
Mhm.
So looking at policy for that as well.
Mhm.
So I don't know if there's anything else. Good. Okay. Great. Thank you guys so much. All right. Moving on to our next item, which is our school plan for student achievement for Jefferson High School. Turning it over to Deputy Superintendent Baca.
Good evening, President Salahuddin. Good evening, members of the board. So LCAP Goal 7 is the maintenance of progress goals, and part of that is allocating supplemental funds to each of the school site. So Principal Harrigan this evening will share his fancy and flashy slides, and we'll go over how these funds are spent and highlight great things that is happening at Jefferson High School. Principal Harrigan.
Thank you.
Thank you for the recognition of the fancy slideshow. The first question that was asked of me was, did you do this yourself? Which I didn't take offense to, really. Thank you for...
I know. What's the answer?
Did I? I was like, yes, of course I did.
Yes.
Oh, did I make it? Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes. And And then I received the board protocols for tonight, and it said 15 slides. And I thought, oh no, I have 16. And then I thought, no, the cover page doesn't count. Maybe it does.
It's fine. You're good. We'll let it
But
fly.
thank you for the opportunity to share what's happening at Jeff. There's a lot of really cool things that are happening at Jefferson High School. And so without further ado, as I was prepping, like sitting and thinking about what I was going to say, I actually started to add more to the already full slides. So I'll try to condense a little bit as I go. So our focus last spring, we thought about where do we want to go? What do we want to do for this year? And so we were really focused on supporting and serving all students and their academic, social, and emotional needs. And so what you'll find is everything we do kind of ties back to that, or the next one, which is re-engaging the Jefferson community, whether that's parents or students, and making sure that all students feel connected and engaged at school. And then looking at organizational structure. So some of our highlights. We are so appreciative. We were the beneficiaries of brand new furniture in our school, brand new student desks. And so we set out in the fall to really examine, like, what does a 21st century classroom look like? What does a 21st century skill set look like? And how do we develop that in our students? And so we came to the realization it's about collaboration. It's a lot about soft skills. It's a lot about being able to work together. And so we set out to identify furniture that we thought could do that. And so that's a picture of one of our classrooms. Actually, the teacher's classroom is right here. She didn't know that I took a picture of it.
Nice.
Sorry, Miss Yonda. Or thank you. It's a beautiful room. So we're able to set up the desks in 2s, 3s, 4s, 6s. It's really powerful. And it's really been a focus for us on intentional community building in the classroom. And so that is, we have flexible arrangement, and it's a source of pride. Students are able to walk in and see brand new furniture, and it's really cool. Thank you. And then, so another piece of this is that we're intentionally preparing all learners, like preparing to teach all learners. And so this is a copy of our blue sheet, blank one. And so the blue sheet is really a pretty simple document on the surface, but it's actually really complicated and really complex. And it's really comprehensive. And so it encompasses so many aspects of instruction and planning. And really the focus is it's designed to provide like time, funding, support for teachers to do the work, to prepare a document and to prepare to teach all students in their class. It's at its essence. That's what it is. And so we ask teachers to come up with the course map. What is a course map? And then from there, we go through and we look at the units. And what is the unit plan? What are skills? And we're really talking about skills. So the course mapping, at the end of this course, students will be able to, what skills do we want them to be able to exhibit? So, we look at common assessments. It incorporates all of the PDs that teachers have been receiving, but we're giving them time and space and support to be able to pull all of those PDs together and try to consolidate it into one place. And so it's really powerful. And the department's teams, because it's PLC based, the teams that have been able to do this work are finding it to be super valuable because they're able to focus on how to improve what they're doing rather than what am I doing? So it's a shift. So it's really cool. We're really excited about that. Okay, so some of the other highlights. Next fall, we're actually in a great position at Jeff to be able to offer ethnic studies to all of our 9th graders next year. And it'll be an expectation. So all of them will take ethnic studies. So we're really excited about that. We have 2 teachers who have been teaching it and are really, really good at it. And we're hoping to expand that further so that it has a wider reach. Like 63% of our staff, not to be precise, have gone through constructing meaning training. And so they are actively thinking about how to support students learning English in their classes. We're rolling out UDL. We're going to talk more about that in March.
Can you tell us what UDL is?
Universal Design for Learning.
Thank you.
Yeah. The 4x4, we still are doing. It's fantastic. And one of the changes for this year is that we're able to offer ASB during the school day. So for the first time, it's not 0 period. You don't have to wake up at 7:30 to go be a part of student government and to have a voice in the school. And so we're hoping to be able to get a more diverse group of students involved in student government and to have more of an impact on the day-to-day life of every kid at school. So that's really cool. Really, that was a big change. We're doing flex time 2 days a week still, a place where students and staff are able, teachers are able to request a kid come in and provide additional support, and a place where students are able to request support. So that's a really powerful place, as well as advisory 2 days a week. I'm getting winded. Lots to say, so many cool things. And I think finally, like, the master schedule is built for equity. And so this year, especially this year, we looked at individual students and where individual students needed to be placed and what support they needed, and built the schedule around that. And I'll talk a little bit more about that as we go. I'm not really going to talk about college and career because there's another slide that kind of covers the same data. One thing that I will highlight is our Future Grads program, which is phenomenal, right, Natalia? Future Grads, we have about 110 active students in Future Grads right now. They go to weekly meetings. They go once a month after school. Like, they're really engaged. That's 20% of our sophomores and juniors that are involved in Future Grads. They're receiving individualized attention and training and coaching. The seniors will get a mentor this spring, or the to-be seniors will get a mentor. They just hired a third person to work at Jeff because of the demand. So we have 3 staff members from Boys and Girls Club who are now supporting our students at school. It's really cool. And they're engaging our parents, which I'll talk about in just a second. There's a parent meeting that we get really good turnout from parents. Okay, so students learning English, really cool. 53% of our students advanced 1 level in English proficiency last year. That's like crazy good. When I looked at data, because I think you guys know I'm competitive a little bit. When I looked at data in the peninsula, there's not many schools that did that. And most of the schools that got close to that were not serving the number of students that we are in our program. So we have about a little over 250 students, about 25%, 280 students. 25% of our student body is classified as English learner. And so that's a really great accomplishment. And it's the culmination of a lot of work from a lot of people to make that happen. So our ELD3 students, so students who tested into ELD3, the level ELD3, they are now integrated into all of the core classes. So previously they would have been separated into an EL designated class and just with other students who were designated as English learners. And now they're in what we're calling clustered sections. So we have a cluster of students learning English and a group of students who are not classified as English learners. And we're doing that in science, math, English, social science. And it's been a change, but there's been positive feedback so far. So it's cool. We have 3 bilingual paraprofessionals. We've never had 3. We've had 1 up until this year. And can we have like 6, 7? That would be great. And that's been a really great adjustment as teachers have learned to have another adult in a classroom to support their work and to support students. And students are starting to learn to rely and to lean on and to ask for support from our bilingual paras. So it's been a fantastic transition and support. As we've rolled out our clusters, we were also able to roll out support for teachers and students. So, and then we have in-person after-school tutoring, and we have a dedicated counselor for our students learning English. Okay. All right. School culture. So new this year, we had a senior retreat this August where all the seniors got together, and we had a speaker come in, and they did a lot of community building activities. And then we had a barbecue and games in the afternoon. So that was I thought it was a really great opportunity for our seniors to connect and really think about what it means to be a leader at the school. Yearbook is now during the school day. Again, another opportunity for students to be involved and engaged in the life of the school. They no longer have to do it after school. We're planning a multicultural celebration. I think we're calling it International Day, International Week in the spring, where we're going to celebrate all of the cultures. I shouldn't say all of the cultures at school. We're offering opportunities for clubs to participate. And that'll coincide with an evening event as well. And we'll share that information with you all. And then we had Powder Puff flag football this year, which was super fun. The sophomores and the juniors played against the freshmen and the seniors. And the game ended in a tie, which is terrible, except it was probably the perfect ending because it was a really good game. No real hard feelings. We've also expanded our beach. So in the past, the beach was like just a table at the end of a hallway. And now the beach is kind of more of a proper wellness space. It's evolving and getting better. The other thing that we've done this year is we have enhanced our co-teaching offerings at school. Co-teaching is where we're pairing up a special education teacher and a general education teacher in the same classroom. And also integrating into content area classes that they would not have been a part of before. So last year we had 2, this year we have 10. And next year we'll see if we can expand that further. The co-teaching sections, we have sections in physics, math 1, math 2, English 9, biology. So we're really excited about that. And we're really appreciative of the district providing the support with 2Teach, which is an outside consulting firm that is coaching our co-teachers and providing them professional development on what it means to co-teach. It's different. Parent engagement, we've had 4 ELAC meetings, or we have 4 ELAC meetings every year. We had a freshman parent orientation this year. We've also gone back and started having dedicated parent information nights to be able to answer specific questions for senior parents or sophomore parents.
Explain what ELAC. What's ELAC?
ELAC is a parent meeting for English Learner Advisory Committee. And so it's a group of parents who meet English learner parents of students learning English, sorry. And we meet 4 times a year. And at those meetings, we present a variety of things. It could be college and career. It could be how to read a transcript. It could be navigating synergy or some other things. We try to do some, what do you call it? Not social media. Just kidding. Sorry. What do you, sorry. What do you call it? Some training, some training that parents might want. And then also that's it. Okay. Notable data. So this is fun data for me. I really want to show so the bottom line is our class of 2022. So the class of 2022, we had 132 students in that class be accepted to a CSU. And that doesn't mean that all of the kids that could have applied may not have applied. That's just reflective of the students who applied. 132 of them were accepted. And that's somewhere around 40% of the class. 52 were accepted to a UC. And what's even cooler is 72% of the kids accepted to a CSU did not need any sort of support class when they got there. So they jumped right into the entry, the whatever the English and math course that they would have taken, they were able to jump right into that. That's powerful. So I wanted to highlight that. And again, like 132 students accepted to a CSU is really high compared to other schools some schools that are like us and some schools that are not like us. And then, okay, so 93.4% of last year's class were graduates. So we graduated 93.4% of the class. 63% of those students were A through G eligible, meaning they had the opportunity to go directly to a four-year university out of high school. That is up from 49%. And that I think is a direct result of our 4x4 schedule. And I think we'll continue to see that number stay there or go higher. But what I think is really notable is not just our highest students are A through G eligible, not just our most affluent students are A through G eligible, but our students socioeconomically disadvantaged. 50% of our students who are classified in that way were A through G eligible. That's higher than the state average for all kids. So I think those are really cool. Anyway, I can geek out on numbers. And another thing that I was really
right place to do that.
What's that?
I said you're in the right place to do that.
Yeah. 30% of our graduates last year were also a CTE pathway completer, which we anticipate will just continue to increase. And as their exposure and as our block schedule continues to evolve. Okay. And then thank you for the gym and pool. I know it hasn't happened yet, but thanks again. That's another highlight. Okay, but it's not all sunshine and rainbows all the time. And so some of our data isn't as great as we would like. Our CASP scores in particular, so our standardized test scores, 43% of our 11th graders last year, were performed at a met or exceeded standard. That's down from 50% last year. And we have some gaps. We have some challenges. And our math scores are not great. 19% met or exceeded. And that stayed the same as the year last year. So that's remained consistent. But it's still not good. And we know that. And so a lot of the work we're doing with our blue sheets and with our planning and with all of that is designed to improve that. School culture and climate, we had 4.1% of our students were suspended. That's still high. And our school safety, this one bothered me. So the California Healthy Kids Survey, 50% of our students felt like school was a safe place to be. And that is too low. That shouldn't be there. And then we continue to have ongoing need for wellness support. And so that's an ongoing need at Jefferson. We have a lot of students who are dealing with a lot of challenges outside of school, and the ongoing support allows them to remain in school and be able to focus. Okay, so we have 6 goals for our SIPSA. One we added last May, and that's the 6th one. So I won't go over all of these and the actions we're taking. These align with our WASC action plan. So for the most part, our WASC action plan, which we have a WASC visitation in March for a mid-cycle. So our 3-year visit. So I'll just highlight a few of these. So the SIPSA goal 1 for us is close the achievement gap and increase student achievement for all students. So our blue sheets, we feel like are going to be a great opportunity to make some progress into that. We have our peer tutoring program, which we're continuing to do. We're in year two with peer tutoring. And that is where we have students who have an elective space during the day, and they choose to go into a classroom and provide support to students in that class. And so, it's a great opportunity for kids. Teachers are learning how to use peer tutors, and students are learning that it's really a neat thing for them to be able to do. So that we're continuing, and that's going to continue to expand and get better. Last spring, we did writing in the social sciences. It was a PD, a release day, where we had social science teachers actually learn about how do you teach kids to write in the social sciences. We've also done some work this fall with our social science and our English departments, where we're looking at, this isn't on here, sorry, where we're looking at where are the gaps. We were able this year with our student scores from the CASP to be able to identify what skills kids were not performing at a high level on. And so the social science and English departments were able to get together and start to identify what they do to address each one of those skills during the course of the year in their particular course. So we're looking at that. Where are the gaps? Are we just not teaching that skill? Or is it that we're not doing it enough? And so really kind of diving in and starting to look at individual things. And then, really for goal 1, it's structured student interaction has been a big push for us this year. Getting kids talking, getting kids interacting. That goes along with the furniture. So SIPSA goal 2, the community will increase school connectedness by improving student engagement, parent involvement, and school climate. So we continue to provide link crew orientation, and our link leaders also go in and support freshman advisory. And that's what they do every week. So they actually run the freshman advisory classes. It's pretty cool.
Will you explain the link crew? Sorry.
Yeah.
Will you explain it? Because I think it's cool.
Link Crew is a freshman transition program that is designed to link upperclassmen with freshmen, incoming freshmen.
Mm-hmm.
So most schools do just an orientation, and it's a fun day. It's a great day. Like you bring freshmen in, it's like, woo, woo, woo. Yeah, we're all excited. We're all here. It's great. And then they go off and they break off and they do small group work in classrooms, like bonding stuff, team building things, icebreakers. And that link leader is connected with those freshmen for the rest of the school year. In theory, ideally. Most schools can't maintain that level of support through the whole year. We actually are. It's really cool. Because our link crew leaders are also assigned to that students advisory. So we look at the advisory rosters and we pull the students out, and we do the groups based on that, and then assign the leaders to those kids. So they're with them at orientation, and then they're with them at the first day of school. When they meet an advisory, they're back. Hey, how you doing? And then you do a lot of follow-up activities throughout the year. But fundamentally, it's about linking up freshmen with upperclassmen who can help to support them. It's really cool. Our link crew coordinator, who just took over this year for Mr. QB, who got it started at Jeff, he's down at training right now down in SoCal. So he'll come back energized. It's an amazing training, actually. And then we have school culture. So continuing to support the work that we're doing with senior barbecue or senior retreat and unity days and field trips. We just purchased Translate Live. Translate Live, you may know from Adult Ed, purchased some. They are a bifold tablet system. So on one side of the tablet, you have somebody can speak. The other side, they can see. I didn't describe that very well. So there's 2 tablets. The person on one side selects the language they want to speak in and they want it spoken to them in, or they want to read it in. The person on the other side gets to select whatever language they want. So at the front counter in the main office, the goal is to reduce language barriers.
Oh, I get it. Okay.
And so a parent comes in, they want to talk to somebody, they speak Arabic. And we don't have an Arabic speaking person at the front counter. Before that would have been an obstacle, would have been a barrier. Maybe that parent wouldn't have come in. Now they'll be able to come in, select Arabic. We speak into that, and then they get it either in text, in written out, or audibly. They can listen to it. In addition, we can use this at parent nights. So we used it for a freshman assembly a couple of weeks ago. And everything that was said through the PA system was translated on a student's phone live. So
Andy is universal translator.
It's pretty cool. So we were able to purchase 3 of these. So we'll have one in student services, one at the front counter, and then one probably in attendance. The vice principals will be able to use it when they're meeting with students. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And it can do multiple languages at the same time. It doesn't matter. Yeah. So the broadcast mode where we're doing like we're going to use it at graduation. So last year for graduation, sorry, I'm digressing. So,
Interesting.
but we'll be able to plug it into the sound system. Everything that goes to the microphone will go to that. Parents will be given a QR code. They just scan it and then they can select the language they want to get it in. And they can just read along as the ceremony's going.
Very cool.
Yeah. Super cool. Thank you, Mr. Bashirs. He found it and shared it with us. And I thought this is really cool. And then our multicultural celebration, again, ethnic studies for all, and then intentional community building. Okay, so our third goal, I promise there's only 3 more. So Jefferson students learning and developing English will develop connections with JHS and its staff, will express themselves fluidly in both social and academic interactions, and will leave JHS with a sense of a pathway forward and a positive view of education in JHS. So we continue to offer our newcomer mentor groups. And then we started our cluster sections this year. And then we continue to cover the social worker out of our Title I funds. And then we have a SLE, so our Students Learning English monitoring team that meets bi-weekly and talks about students and programs and supports and what we need to do. And then this year we're providing newcomer swag. So providing items for students. We have a lot of students who come from Central America, warmer climates, and they get to Daly City and who knew it would be cold, even in the summer, perhaps colder in the summer, which I love. So we purchase sweatshirts and water bottles, and we'll continue to kind of expand that to help support our students. Okay, so one of the big focuses for this has just been connections and integrating students into all aspects of life at Jeff. And that goes with moving ASB into the school day. It goes with our blue sheets. It goes with our clusters. It goes with some of the conflicts that we've seen in the past where students maybe didn't feel as connected. And then I just learned yesterday, and I thought this was really cool. In the past, when students are in our English learner program, they go through ELD 1, ELD 2, ELD 3, and then they're matriculated out. They test out. They're redesignated. And in the past, that student just goes out into a general education classroom. And that's a shock to a lot of students. They're now in a core content area class where they've been with all of their friends in a tight community and they've been traveling together. And so what some folks had mentioned was that they were finding some students found that really difficult. It was shocking. And they would just kind of, when it was hard, because it was hard, they would just kind of disappear and they wouldn't persist. They didn't have the support structure. And that what we're finding and kind of have found so far with the clusters is that we're providing a little bridge, perhaps, that students are able to go out, still have a little bit of a support with people that they know. And if it gets hard, they still have people around them that get it and are doing it with them, and they're asking for help. And we're able to get them through that before they reclassify and move out into just general classes. So I think that's pretty cool. And that's something I just heard about yesterday and thought, wow, that's pretty powerful. So, all right, our fourth one, increased student achievement for students with disabilities. Miss Z, Yvette Z, one of our school psychologists, she was a school psychologist at Jefferson, and now she's a program specialist at the district. She does a phenomenal job of 8th grade transition meetings. She attends, I don't know how many IEP meetings, but she goes and collects all kinds of information about students and helps us to be prepared when they get to our school. And so that transition process helped us get students placed correctly this year, and really looking at where should students be placed. Students with IEPs, where should they be? Should they be in a co-taught class? Should they be in a general ed class? Should they be in a special education class? And looking at each individual student and kind of going from there and building from there. So our students lead their own IEP meetings, which is pretty cool. So they're aware of what is in their plan. And then we have kind of taken zones of regulation, started in our social communication class, and we've kind of expanded it to be school-wide as we ask students to kind of identify how they're feeling and track how they're feeling. Okay, the fifth one, this is increasing student achievement for students socioeconomically disadvantaged. So a lot of the items that are on previous slides could be here. And then goal 6, reduce suspension for students with disabilities and students of two or more races. And so this one is, we kind of looked at who it was. Well, let's increase our co-taught sections. Let's intentionally focus on classroom culture and intentional community building, which we did the first day back, that staff PD day, that site PD. We had Circle Up come in and do work with us on intentional community building. It's not just enough to get brand new furniture that's beautiful. What do you do with it? How do you actually use it? How do you get kids to interact with each other who may not want to? Because you can put kids together, but they aren't going to talk to each other. So how do you intentionally build community? And so we focused on that first day back, and it's been an ongoing message. Okay. And then we have been working with Panorama. We started working with them last year. They're a survey company. You can get similar data to what we get with Healthy Kids Survey, except that we actually know who's taking the survey. So we actually know which students are struggling with which things and can kind of tailor support to them. So, okay. This is the last slide. So the things in orange are Title I expenditures. We really cover 3 things with Title I. And they're the 4x4 block. We pay for some elective support. We pay for one block of instructional coaching, and then our social worker. The other items are all, you can kind of see that I just put them on one side. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry. I'm sure I blew way past any time constraints or expectations, but thank you. Mm-hmm. Thanks for the opportunity to talk about Jefferson and all of the things that are happening at school.
Thank you so much. Can you opening up to our trustees for comments? Yeah, go ahead. Me.
First of all, I'm very happy to see my principal. So go Grizzlies now. So I do want to give a shout out. I love the slides. They're beautiful. I really want to go over everything because it's like, honestly, I want to give a big shout out to you because this is your second year at the high school, and I've just seen so many improvements. I've been there since my freshman year, and my freshman year was okay. Then my sophomore year, when he arrived, it was a big shock. A lot of stuff started to happen. A lot of what is that called? Culture involvement, and I'm I've seen a lot of Latinos and diverse people on my school. So it's they're proud of where they're from, and having a special day or activities that involve their culture is it's reminding them of their home, where they're from. So it's very special for me, especially because I'm also proud of where I'm from. I do want to say on the second slide, you say something about unity and community. Is that talking, because my advisor said we were bringing back unity days. So is this talking about that?
A little bit. Yeah, a little bit. We are going to bring it back. It's going to be student led. So I'm going to be tapping on your shoulder, asking you to come back and help.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'll be a little bit different than what we did last year because it's going to be all students. So you're going to do all the presentation, all of the small group stuff. Students are going to be doing it all. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm just kind of one more information because like I said, sophomore year, I was chosen to be a student leader for Unity Day. So I was that's something I'm really passionate about, leadership. So just very excited about that. Also the desk. I love the desk. I'm a student. I sit on those desks. I love them. I love the formations, the different like ways the teacher arranged them, like in a circle. It forms a perfect circle with like 6 desks. And it's like you face each other, and even though you don't know that person, like you're seeing them, and it's kind of more like you want to get involved because you're like seeing them directly. They're like those square. That, you know, just a different vibe. Yeah, I already went. I'm going through it again.
You're doing great.
I know you're competitive. I just know. Big shout out to my statistics teacher right now who's making me love data so much.
Yeah.
So I'm loving this data right now. Big shout out to Mr. Lessler. Gym project, I was here on that meeting, so also very excited for that. And yes, like you said, not all of the news are good. Like we suspended a lot of students, but it also goes back to how when they took a survey, students, like only 50% felt safe. So kind of like when you expel some students, it's kind of connected to the environment, because what if students who didn't feel safe. Oh, you're listening.
My daughter is calling me back. Yeah.
So what if the students who didn't feel safe, like didn't feel safe in the first place because of those students who we saw as troublemakers who were causing trouble and they needed to be expelled. So some actions, some sacrifices have to be made for our community to be better involved. I love the yearbook and ASB is sold now in the classroom. I just love that you're just involving students so much, because some students don't have time after school, because I hang out a lot with the soccer team, so I kind of get to know them specifically. And some of them are like, I stay after school on this peer tutor where it's just a classroom I can do work. And one of my friends loved that peer tutoring because he has 3 little brothers and they're like young, 4 years and 6. So they're little troublemakers. So he doesn't really have time at home to do work. So it's really nice that Mr. Harrigan is putting all that support on students and the opportunities like yearbook. Students just want to get involved. Going through it. The live translator, I love that. I know those must be expensive, but they're really worth it, especially because, again, we have a very diverse community. So if a parent really wants to talk about something, there's no limits anymore. So, yeah, I love everything. So I really appreciate my principal. He really made me feel like Jefferson is my home, especially because I'm very involved into Jefferson. I have mission fusion, soccer, and so many other things. So it just made it so much better. Big shout out to my principal. Go Girls Lead again.
You're awesome, by the way.
Yeah. She's a plant, Mr. Harrigan.
I haven't told you that lately. You're awesome. Yeah.
All right, so I'll make this a little short and simple. First, just hearing that you've only been at this school 2 years and you've made all these changes is one of the most incredible things I've heard tonight. I have never seen a teacher, let alone a principal, have this much involvement in making sure that every student wants to come to school every day. I have seen many principals just let things go because they don't want to deal with it and think that they have other issues to take care of. But you sitting here listening to you, you are not that type of person. You are the type of person that if something gets brought up, you are going to take care of it no matter what happens. And seeing that all these different changes are happening because you came in and thought this is what could help grow our numbers and help so many students succeed, not just now, but moving on in life, because they have many more years to go. And high school is one of the biggest times where they are going to learn and make changes in their lives that may affect them for many decades to go. So thank you for making those changes. And even as a student that's not at Jefferson, this stuff really was like exciting to see that it's happening. Like that translation stuff, like, whoa. Whoa. So thank you for being the type of principal that will not only like take their time and come and explain all of this stuff to us, but like just making changes happen only in 2 years of being here. It's incredible.
Thanks. The staff at Jeff is amazing. Like it's not me. Like, I'm there, but it is really everyone is phenomenal. And there's so many people at school that are all about kids and all about doing what's best. And so it takes all of that to be able to do anything. And so to make any change or to introduce something, you have to have people that are willing to like try something new. And so I can't think of a person at Jeff who isn't there for that. And so it's a really neat place to be because of that.
Also, I just wanted to like appreciate your effort into putting into Jefferson, because like you're using a lot of the resources that Jefferson previously didn't have into like and trying to improvise and create a better curriculum and also a better environment for students, because I feel like it's really important for students to have a really good environment and like with teachers and people surrounded by them, because like that's like really a main factor into whether a student would want to go to school or not. So I really appreciate that. But to save time, I'm just gonna point out like the things that I noticed the most. So like for Translate Live, I wish this could be implemented into like all schools as well, because personally, I've been in student government for like 3 years now, and every time that we do orientation, I've always experienced at least 2 or 3 students every year asking me about like they were non English speaking students, so it was like really hard to connect with them and like communicate. So I feel like it would be also a good idea if like these activities director or like the student government teacher in like every school could have like access to this program, because it is a really good program and they could probably give it to student leaders that could probably use it when they need it. And also I wanted to say like for the Link Crew program, I feel like it's also something that the district should implement as well, because not a lot of ninth graders know what they are getting themselves into when they first start high school. And well, personally, I did not, before attending high school, I lived in another country where we had this similar sort of program. And I feel like that really helped me, like making sure that I was safe and I felt welcome at school. So yeah, one more thing, the peer tutors program. I feel like it's a really, really good program as well, because some students, they don't know where to go after school and they just have a place to stay and do their work. I wish this was implemented at Westmore, because usually after school, like not a lot of like teachers usually close their doors and like students get locked out. The library's not really open. So if there was a place for students to stay out like after school at Westmore, that would be great. But yeah, I appreciate your effort again and being so thoughtful and like trying to think of every aspect of what a student would probably need. And yeah, I can't wait to see how like this would be true in the upcoming year.
Yeah. Peer tutors are really cool. It's during the day. It's Miss Paris, or one of our counselors, Miss Paris, had the idea to bring it, and she started it a couple of years ago. It was put in motion before I got here. But yeah, no, it's her baby and she does a great job with it. It's cool.
I am so sorry. I feel like I'm talking so much.
You're doing fine. We just said we wanted you guys to talk.
Hi.
There you go.
So it's just that as a student of Jefferson's, like, I mean, my principal talk about everything that's happening. It's like, I can relate to that. So it's like, I do agree for Link Crew.
I had Link Crew when I was a freshman. I was like confused. I didn't even know where advisory was or what it was. But it was really helpful where 11th and 12th grade students just came in, really involved the students to create community. And I think that's such a cool thing. And I wish like it could also expand to Terranova, Westmore, and Oceana, because it's just something really helpful. Because from my experience, it was really helpful myself. Also, I just had so much to go through, and I kind of forgot. And then I heard what they said, and I was like, "Oh right, I forgot to comment about this." So Future Grads, that collaboration with Future Grads is amazing. It's like my first year being involved in Future Grads, and it's been so helpful. Like they're doing a South California tour for colleges, and that's really gonna help me out pick a college, because I'm a very visual person. I like to be in a place so I can be around. I just want to see the environment. I don't only want to read it and be like, okay, they have this to offer. I really want to explore, and Future Grads is giving me the opportunity. And just one last thing, so we do have a lot of teachers that speak 2 languages, and that has been very helpful. I've seen the impact because I have a lot of friends that their first language is like Spanish and they don't know much English. And I myself, I have an advisor that speaks like 2 languages perfectly fine. And I've seen those students that their first language is Spanish, like always go to the teacher's classroom and say, and like talk about their day, you know. It's like really nice having somebody, an adult, that speaks your language, your native language. So all of these things that Jefferson is given to the students, I wish also that Terranova, Westmore, and Oceana could be like also more involved into that. This is like my experience has been like fantastic, and I just want not only Jefferson, but also the whole district to experience. So I really want to talk about this, how we can kind of get the live translate thingy, because it would be amazing, that resource for others.
No, you guys are good.
I have one question actually. It's about like your you know how you're spending for like this last slideshow. So you said you're gonna be spending like $20,000 on classroom engagement. Can I know like the specific details on like approximately what you plan to like use on?
So some of it, some teachers have asked for personal whiteboards. You know, so every student in the class has a whiteboard. We pay for some of like our math classes are big on using the white books. So like on the wall, there are whiteboards that are removable. And so we pay for things like that. So some of it are like disposable things, consumables. Maybe it's a journal. So the students can do an interactive notebook. So it just kind of depends what that individual teacher thinks would be like engaging. For some classrooms, it was providing like a bin with all of the things that a student might need for their class, and that they could have with the pod, you know, the cluster of desks. It just kind of depends. But I'm having trouble getting teachers to actually ask me for things. People aren't used to like, can I have? Yes, you can. So I just need people to ask for more. We're fortunate because we receive Title I funds and a large amount of supplemental money that we have the ability to be able to purchase things like that. So and it's designed to help, I think, support students students learning English, support students who are foster youth. That's kind of the purpose of it. So we try to use it try to use it up.
I do recommend, if it's okay, for like you to invest some like clickers for like when to like move the slideshow.
Yes.
Because I feel like a lot of teachers like they just like go to the mouse and like it saves them time.
Yes,
Yeah.
I agree. One other thing that we purchased this year were cell phone holders, like the calculator holders. So we bought one for every classroom. There's nothing more engaging than a student not being on their phone. I know it's not popular, but it actually has gone over okay. I think students expect it. They don't mind it. They just were waiting for somebody to say, you can't do that. Yeah. So that's another piece of engagement, but you're absolutely right about the clickers. Thank you.
More thing. Could you like probably do some investment on lighting as well? Because like I'm not sure about Jefferson. I've been in summer school for Jefferson like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
But I've noticed like for Westmore, there's only like one light switch for like some classrooms, which makes it hard for students to see in the dark when they need to write.
I agree. I agree. It makes me crazy when I go in and the lights are off. Because how does a student who's learning English actually write and read what they're writing? Especially if they're writing in pencil. I know I'm old, but like I struggle to see that in the dark. And I've wondered about that. So one thing that we did make available are like the light covers, like the fabric that you can put over it that softens the fluorescent lights. So that's one of those pieces that we can do. But yeah, the one light switch is problematic. It'd be nice to be able to turn half of them off. I agree.
That is all. Thank you. I'll send it back.
It is. Thank you for the ideas. I like it.
Really good.
Any other comments from our trustees?
From these trustees?
No, we're all trustees.
Just real quick. I mean, I got really nothing to add because what these folks just said basically is everything. I mean, this is everything. This is exactly why we got them in here, and their reactions are perfect. My only comment is the fact that I'm just amazed at the staff of Jefferson with the equity-minded focus on students. This is what equity in action looks like. So I'm really proud of the work you've done. The numbers are clearly trending in the right way, and I'm willing to bet you we're going to hit some pretty stellar numbers here in a very short period of time. So thank you. Kudos to you, the staff at Jeff. And I know Jeff's in the house tonight. It's incredible.
Also, amazing, very powerful. One more thing. I love it. I love it. I'm going to wear a button and one more thing. So congratulations to you and your incredible staff at Jeff. My daughter went to Jeff. I went to Jeff. My daughter went to Jeff, class of 22. ASB, not zero period. I wish that happened when she was there, because I spent 4 years driving her to school very early in the morning. But that makes a huge difference. ASB, not zero period, during the day, yearbook, during the day. It's about opportunity for everyone. Fantastic. I'm in physical therapy right now. I'm actually struggling with a lot of pain as we speak, but I'm one of my physical therapy aides is a Jeff grad. And I asked him, so what activities were you into at Jeff? I just assumed every student, because my daughter, her friends, they all did. I just went to school and went home. And I realized there are students like that, and that he had to work. That was his life. He said, I just, and that was an eye-opener for me, because I'm surrounded by overachievers but you find ways to engage with every single student. And there was a student at Jeff who talked about Unity Day, the first Unity Day they loved it. Second one, like, I mean, then, hey, how's uni? Oh God, I'm getting really tired of it. There's going to be student led, totally different. I really, kudos to you and the staff for, I mean, you got these students involved to be leaders because you only, I think students respond more to their peers, you know.
They do.
But definitely going in the right direction. Great to see you again. And I'm trying to start to visit schools more often. I'm just not able to.
I have a question. I'll start with a question. I got other things to say. You mentioned that 50% of students feel safe. The students that don't feel safe, do you know anything about how they feel? Is it a general feeling of a lack of safety, like they feel exposed or like a soft target, or is it something where they feel a specific threat? And I think both are real. I'm just curious if you know.
I don't know the answer to that. The Healthy Kids survey is anonymous. So even follow-up isn't possible, which is why Panorama is kind of interesting. Because we'll know who the students are and we could do some follow-up. There are some follow-up, like there are more detailed questions within the Healthy Kids survey. But I don't know the answers to that, but those are very good questions.
Thank you. So in spite of that, good things are happening to Jeff and folks. They don't happen by accident. So congratulations for being a part of the planning, that has contributed to these successes. I want to call out specifically the change in the schedule, which sounds like it's creating a lot of opportunity. And I also want to call out students being a resource seems to be a recurring theme. So I think that's amazing too. Natalia was talking about making connections. And I was a teacher during one spring break. I went to the Dominican Republic. I came back with peeling skin and the kids asked me, "Hey, where'd you go?" And I said, "I went to the Dominican Republic." And for 2 weeks, people I never saw before, never saw again, stopped in my classroom to make a connection. "Mr. Walker, you went to DR?" And I was like, "Yes, I did." And I had a conversation with at least 12 kids about how they're from DR and did I meet your cousin and so forth and so on. It was just about making connections. So this is much more significant than that, but it doesn't take much.
No,
is what I'm saying. So, a little bit or a lot of effort could get a lot of return. And so thanks to you, thanks to everyone in the district, at schools, principals, staff. And one thing people always ask me is, where should I send my kid to high school? And
sorry, I should have waited for you to say that. Yeah.
And I say, hey, what school can you get them to? What school do they like? What do you know about them? Because I feel like every school we have is a place where students can find success.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
It's funny you say that because when I was going to Jeff, that was definitely not a school that people wanted to go to.
Man,
that was a long time ago. That was a long time ago. So it's really cool to see, the data that you presented tonight. I've also noticed that this astronaut floating around looks really chill for being out in the middle of space, right? Floating around.
Right? So. Yeah. I tried to pick some different ones.
Thank you for the presentation. It's really cool to kind of see your enthusiasm and joy as you sit here and kind of go through your numbers and what you're doing at the school and sharing with us, all the hard work that your staff is doing and how involved you are with them in doing that. Gives me a sense of pride. My daughter goes there, so it makes me feel really good about what's happening there. She's graduating this year. You can see from fellow students here that are here to support you and what you're doing there and your staff is doing there. It's great work, and it takes a lot of people to do it.
Takes a lot.
Just going through your slides, just seeing all the different things that the school is implementing, it just seems like a big task. You know, every little thing to try to kind of follow through and get data from and see where you can improve. And, it's kind of crazy what it takes to educate our kids. I think that's one of the hardest things that we have to do as adults is really try to figure out how to educate our children, especially in big schools when you have a lot of disadvantaged kids or you have a lot of ethnically diverse kids. It's challenging and it's, you know, it's really hard to say, like, you know, what it's going to take. I don't think it's never going to be perfect. You know, we just got to keep striving to make it better. And you presented data tonight that you're, you know, that school is making progress. And for me, just seeing, you know, how happy you are about that I think that, you know, we're in good shape moving forward. So thanks, John. Appreciate that.
And I will just wrap up by saying, similarly, I get more reflective now since I'm coming to the end of my time as a board member here. And, you know, now that I'm in my 12th year, I remember my first year in the school board meeting where Jefferson was going into its 5th or 6th year program improvement when program improvement was a thing. And the way it was talked about was, well, that's just the way it is. So to see the change that we've had in less than a decade with dedicated working on it, while a decade may seem like a long time for systems change, it's not. And to see the dramatic change that has happened at Jefferson, I am so proud of the courage and the love and the work of every staff member at Jeff. Because as I said earlier, success and winning, that those aren't solo sports. It was a massive lift by so many different people who just said the care and the community of our students is important and that no child is thrown away. That we are going to do everything. We are not going to be a barrier to success. So again, talking about my own child that graduated from Jeff and the work here that's been done here and is building on to prepare students that normally are underrepresented in college. Ramira went to UC Davis and she was one of 12 Black students that were accepted to UC Davis, 12 out of the entire campus. And of that 12, only 3 were American, born in the United States. She was the only one that was a major in political science. So she was the only American-born Black student in her entire major. And she killed it. And if you talk to her, she will talk about her time at Jefferson. So the work that we're doing, we're preparing students for a world that is not prepared for them and to be able to meet those challenges and be successful. So when I was reading this presentation, like I knew I was like, this is going to be a long one, but that's okay because that's the work that we're elected here to do. Is to sit. This is the real stuff. And it's imperative as board members that we know and understand this because we vote on a lot of things that support this work. So we need to understand what we're voting for and what we're supporting and what our dollars, when we allocate funding, this is what it does. That was the first point I wanted to make. The second one I wanted to make about school and safety is that, and I brought this up before, for me, while we always need to look at the number of suspensions, I am more focused on the disproportionality. Mm-hmm. Students that are doing something wrong, there needs to be consequence. So I'm less focused on consequences for actions and more focused on, are there bias? are other factors that are leading to suspensions. So breaking out those two things, because I don't want students feeling unsafe on campus. Students that don't feel safe, that's a barrier to learn. And I would like to see more investigation into why that number is it is what it is, while at the same time, I've said before, I don't know that was a one capture at one moment in time. Having a constant way to gauge that, who knows what was going on at the time that that survey was given, not to discount it, but the other thing I wanted to talk about was the A to G rates. Like, you know, when we saw this already with Ms. Baca and everything, just floored, right? You know, floored. So I am just so proud of the work that we've done, and to be able to say that Jefferson has been a model for other schools in this district on how to equitably educate students, and that other schools are taking and from your steps and looking at Westmoreland going in a 4x4, all these things being discussed and talked about, that the effect that Jefferson is having, not just on the students within its walls, but throughout the whole district, you guys should all be extremely proud of yourself. So thank you all so much.
Thank you. I'm going to try and be brief. Because most of what I want to say has already been said. I get to see what goes on your campus. I get to talk with you frequently and talk with your staff frequently. So I'm just so happy when other people get to hear it and see it, because I'm extremely proud. And while you are correct, humble and correct, that it's not just you, you have an incredible staff. You're very, very key. You're the leader, and leadership is very, very important. And I hope that everybody has heard me write it and say it many, many times. I hope that it sinks through to people. Really, our students need to know that they are worthy and capable of everything, and they are inherently worthy of the best. And they need to see that through all of the adults that they are interacting with every single day. And when I walk through your campus, and you as the leader you are living that with your students. And so I'm glad that you're humble and you know it's a team effort, but it really wouldn't work if you weren't that leader. So thank you specifically and individually. There's so many things I wanted to say. I'm very proud of the work you're doing. I want to say that to kind of piggyback on what Kalima just said about leading the district, you know, the 4x4 schedule was really like a breakthrough for Jefferson. Yeah. You do have there are Title I funds at Jefferson, so there is more funding to allocate. But we as a district have supported it in other schools, you know, different outside the box thinking about schedules in other schools. And I think that that's really key, that we need to do things differently in order to get different outcomes for our kids in all of our schools. We have to do things differently. So throughout my career, have tried to encourage people, like, try and fail. Like, let's try some things. And so I'm really proud of that, of the leadership of Jefferson in sort of trying some new things. Some things don't work, but some things do. And so we've seen so much progress. So I will be quiet. I'm very, very proud of you and your staff. So thank you.
All right. So if nothing else, thank you so much.
Thank you all. Sorry, I was so long.
No, you're fine.
Sorry.
Everyone's apologizing today.
All good.
We're all okay. It's all.
It was worth it. It was worth it.
Okay. So moving on, next item on the agenda for just discussion and review is the board policy on chronic absenteeism and truancy. Turning it over to Associate Superintendent Bessemer.
Good evening. Board Policy 5113.1 is being updated to address student absences through tiered trauma-informed approach.
I don't know if any board members had any questions or comments on it. Nope. Okay, thank you. It'll be brought back. Next item on the agenda is our budget committee report. Deputy Superintendent Van Raphorst is absent this meeting, so I'm turning it over to Superintendent Presta.
Thank you so much. So I'm not going to do a lot of talking. I will read Deputy Superintendent Raphorst's summary, and then I'm going to turn it over to some of the members of the Budget Advisory Committee, which I will speak about in a moment. So a JUHSD budget committee was established this fall to take a close look at the district's finances. The last budget committee met during the 2021 school year, and it's best practice to periodically convene a committee of this sort. This year's committee consisted of 18 members. These teachers, classified staff, administrators, parents, and students were asked to review detailed budget information and determine whether to make any recommendations to the Board of Trustees. Representative members of the committee will present their findings, and I'm very pleased to introduce Michaela Ott and Michelle Fortunato Kewen. Thank you so much for being here. I also want to say that because Deputy Van Raphorst isn't here today, you may have questions that they're able to answer. And if not, I can try to answer, or we can bring them back at a later date with Deputy Superintendent Van Raphorst. So thank you too for being here.
Of course. Thank you for having us. Again, I am Michelle Fortunato Kewen. Jeff. So after Mr. Harrigan's spiel, I of course had to say that I'm a Jeff. Oh, the talk button is on. Is it? Can you hear me? Okay, I'll just close. Oh, you just have to So yeah, I'm Michelle Fortunato Kewen. I am a Jeff grad. I'm the counselor on special assignments, working here at the district office, and I am part of wellness and mental health.
And then, hi, everyone. I'm Michaela Ott, biology teacher at Jefferson. You can tell that someone who works at Jefferson did make this presentation because I'm very proud of Jefferson. So we're just going to be presenting a very brief finding of what our budget decided to present. So just a little bit of our committee. We are comprised of roughly or a variety of different sites. We had a majority participants, mostly from Oceana, but you can also see that there are multiple positions that were held at different school sites. It was primarily comprised of half of classified and certificated staff, and the other half consisted of students, parents, and administration. All holding various roles within our district. Also union leadership. Yes, cannot forget about you. Just to inform you a little bit about the process when conducting and just kind of having the conversation of our budget. We focused on 4 main priorities. So looking at student achievement at the forefront, really taking perspectives from human resources and management, allocation of different resources, focusing on school connectedness, which again was something that really is at the forefront of what Jefferson's doing, but really at all of our schools within our district, and then partnerships that we have within the district and it's outside. The first thing that we did was look at our equity statement, which again is always at the forefront of all that we do. And when it came to making decisions about our budget and where we wanted our money to be spent, and any recommendations that we were to have, we wanted to make sure that we kept this in mind. So we've included our vision and then our equity statement that was carefully reviewed in our first meeting. Here is a brief overview of the meetings that we held, including the agenda items on the agenda for each of the meetings. We had 5 meetings that met over the span of about 4 months in the fall semester. I won't go into details based on time of each of the meetings, but we have linked this presentation with each of the meetings presentations and are happy to share that out if it hasn't been done already. In our first initial meeting, we really wanted to focus on concerns and any topics that were of immediate interest. So here we've included a jam board of all of the things that really just got us thinking, and questions that we had and about where our money goes and how it's spent. We really had a wide variety of questions, comments, concerns. So we wanted to make sure to include that there as kind of the starting point for where our meetings took place. So moving right into the recommendations that our committee made, we made 4 recommendations that Michelle will go into detail about. The first was continuing our mental health resources as a priority. We have funds coming to an end here very shortly, where a lot of our mental health resources are funded through, and we are wanting to continue to make sure we have the budget to support our students in the way that they have been supported through the last couple of years. Taking a look at our expenditures for our electricity through PG&E, transportation expenditures, and additionally, and finally, the VP role at Terra Nova.
And I'm going to go a little bit more in depth of our recommendations. So as Michaela said, mental health was one of the priorities. As Michaela shared, some of the COVID funding was used for our wellness counselor and school social work positions. And as a committee, we decided that we want to prioritize our mental health services with our students and our families as one of our key priorities. The second piece is really looking at PG&E. So in the presentation slides, there's the ones that give the different overviews. It breaks down the actual numbers of what our PG&E costs are and other utilities are. And I think one of the things we were really looking at is there ways that we can reduce our PG&E bills? There was some feedback that in some sites, the heating does not turn off, or it's very, very high. So that was something that was commented. But other ways our committee was thinking about how to reduce the PG&E bill was looking at Jeff's Grizzlies Go Green initiative, doing an audit of our heating, as we shared. Looking back at our solar panels agreement, I know Tina was talking about, I'm not sure, it sounds like we may be renting our solar panels. Don't quote me, I'm not 100% if we're renting or buying, but really looking at our agreements to that. And then also ways to reduce our garbage costs. So the meeting slides, again, breaks down the actual numbers. The second big piece that we saw with spending was really transportation. And a consideration that was brought up was looking at an analysis of our transportation. We know with various students and situations, we have students who may be bused in or who maybe have drivers who come over here, depending if they're out of district or if it's part of their IEP, individualized educational plan services. So we kind of just want to look overall, is there ways we can reduce the cost of transportation through looking maybe at where our drivers are going, the mechanical services, the upkeep, and then specifically our contracted services was really a big expenditure that was kind of broken down on the costs. And then lastly, one of the things that was being considered by the committee that we're recommending is really looking at reducing the VP role at Terra Nova, specifically if student numbers don't increase. Terra Nova has 3 VPs, 3 vice principals, and we know throughout the district and throughout a lot of districts, student numbers are decreasing. But so that's something that we're considering is the VP role, do we need that third VP role? If the numbers are not increasing or if they're decreasing. A consideration that the committee has talked about is really one of the keys for that third VP role is really the extra administrator on duty for the extracurricular activities. I believe Terra Nova has as many extracurricular activities as Westmore and Jeff. So there's we're talking about looking at ways to cover that, whether it's having a certificated staff as the admin designee, if all admin cannot cover that.
I just would like to add before we say thank you and wrap up. Again, we are trying to find ways to continue those mental health resources. Again, those funds are ending, and the only way we can continue to support our students in the way that we've seen is most valued is by finding ways within our budget to make that work and continue. So those 3 suggestions are really made to continue to have that mental health resources. May it be the school counselors, wellness staff, or just things that are going on campus that promote mental health. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Opening up for any questions, comments, student trustees, starting with you.
Hi, I have a question. I don't know if you said this earlier, but for the VP roles at Terra Nova, I know that each VP has a different job. So we have one for security, one for athletics, and 2 of our graduating classes, and then another 2 for our other VP and for our master schedule. If you were to cut down on a VP, say you cut down on a VP of security, would that just be like a job cut, or would that be, I don't want to say a downgrade, but would it be just someone that's like head of security but doesn't have a title as vice principal?
That is a good question. I don't know if I'm the appropriate person to answer that, but again, this is what I would imagine is the way the positions are split is it would probably be split up with the rest of the VPs.
We'll let Superintendent Preston have that.
Thank you. I'm like, that is such a good question.
Yeah. No, it's a very good question. So I think that's a really good question. So my understanding about the recommendation is really based on enrollment numbers. And so when we allocate different resources to school sites, it's oftentimes based on how many students are there. And so because of the declining enrollment, the enrollment really kind of warrants less vice principals. That doesn't mean that there's not stuff to do, right? And so they talked about, one thing is supervisions of after school sports, but you bring up other things. Labor would have to be divided. So if we do move forward with reducing one of the positions there, that means that the school and the district would need to support the school in figuring out how to best divide up the responsibilities, because the responsibilities are still there. You're right. We don't have a more specific answer than that. But it's not that it's not a downgrading necessarily. It's just dividing up the labor differently. Yeah. And it's based on enrollment numbers.
Right.
I also have a question. So earlier you said that basically this committee is mostly comprised of Oceana and Terra Nova students and staff. But then I was wondering as to why the other 2 schools aren't as represented.
Sure. Okay. So the way the district, the committee was decided was based on interest. A survey or email was sent out by Deputy Superintendent Tina, and basically anyone who was interested could have signed up. There was no particular selection; it was just volunteer basis.
So do you think the data that you've gotten and the info you've gotten would be a bit inaccurate because it does not really represent more of the Daly City schools, but more of what Pacifica schools need?
That's a great question. I think that the data is certainly skewed. I think before we make any further decisions, the budget committee would certainly love to meet again to make sure that all viewpoints are taken into consideration. And one thing that the data doesn't show is that the multiple school sites did include schools such as Westmore and Jefferson. So that multiple would add to those other schools. So my apologies for not having a better graph showing, but certainly before we go further with those recommendations, we would want to make sure that everyone's voice was heard.
Maybe would it be better if there was better advertising in within Westmore and Jefferson about this committee, so there would be equal voices?
These are hard questions to answer. I think actually that Deputy Superintendent Tina Van Raphorst did a lot of recruitment. So I don't think it was that she didn't just send out one email and whoever answered that. She really actually did a lot of recruitment. And unfortunately, it's after school hours, it's people's free time. And so sometimes you just don't get the volunteers from, as equal representation as we would like. I do think that, so can you always improve on trying to get more people? Of course you can. And my understanding, so I'm going to ask a question about the people at the multiple sites. That means I might be a person who travels from Jefferson, Westmore, Terra Nova, and Oceana. So without looking at that graph, you did, can you go back to that graph actually? No, maybe not. Okay, there we go. So just since we're talking about representation. Yeah. So is this actual numbers of people?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. So it looks like Oceana had 6, Terra Nova had 4, Westmore had 1, Jefferson had 1, and then people who are traveling around, there were 6 people. So, I think the data is there, but I do think that she did a lot of recruitment and it just kind of turned out to be who it was. And they were looking at district wide. It wasn't site specific recommendations necessarily. I think I'm speaking for you, but I think that the specificity about Terra Nova was with regard to the enrollment numbers. And there are general allocations that we give for teachers and for vice principals, for campus supervisors, et cetera. Those are based on how many students are at the school, and the number of students didn't justify within that formula the third vice principal.
I do understand the point though, that while I know we do outreach and we try, we might have to try something other ways. Because while the multiple is 6, we don't know if every single multiple is a Daly City resident or, and that while it is high level, where you live and your makeup and lived experience does influence how you feel about certain things. So, it's most of our students live, in Daly City. So, I think it's a good point and something that while we're doing our best, we can still try different ways and do other things. So, especially with the students, because this wasn't just adults and staff, it was also students. Any advice or things that you could help us to get more students involved from those schools would be great.
One thing I would like to add is Bethany Zhao. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. She was part of Tina, Michelle, and I in creating this presentation, and she goes to Westmore. Yeah. So her voice, or Oceana. Yeah. So sorry. Oh, terribly sorry. Yeah. Well, then ignore my comments.
No, you're fine.
Either way, I appreciate your hard work putting into this, and it's a lot of effort. So thank you so much.
Thanks for your questions.
Trustee Lee?
From a process standpoint, looking at the slide where you had the meeting questions and thoughts and all the sticky notes, did you feel like you got appropriate answers to those various questions? Because those were a lot of really great questions with regards to how we're funded, how we can get extra revenue, where are we spending our money? Did you feel like you were able to discuss these items?
Yes, it was so informative to have this meeting or this committee. Every year at the beginning of the school year, the teachers sit down for orientation and all the staff really. And we go through the expenditures for a very brief moment. And I know it was a common theme amongst the committee members of all of us just wanting to know more about where our money is going. So having this committee really, I don't want to speak for everyone, but for myself, really gained an insight of where this funding is going and what can we do to really put more money back into the classroom for our students, for our teachers, for our staff. So we can have better working conditions and better learning conditions, which so yes, I do think they answered it. I hope that is the consensus, and I do believe it's so. So
yeah, I just want to add that Deputy Superintendent Tila was there. She was very transparent about the process. And again, we didn't put all of our Google Docs and things like that. But anytime we had questions, she made sure in the following meetings to answer them. We had actually a lot of questions from the parents who were involved. We had a Westmore parent who was there. So yeah, it was helpful to have just these different questions asked and really getting the answers to them. Or if not, Tilo made sure here's the information, here's the spreadsheets.
Great, thank you.
Just to stay on this topic, the other reason why I talk about having folks from Daly City is these questions would be great to keep, and we have to go out for our parcel tax soon to re-up. And this is a great Q&A, like frequently asked questions to just include, because people, they'll probably be wondering the same things. And, that where you live could also influence how you're thinking about where money goes, funding questions you may have. So keeping these questions and having the answers on a ready to roadshow and send out and talk about in the community. I just was asking that just so we could stay there, but I don't opening it back up to the board if there's any other comments or questions.
Do you guys feel like you had enough time to really do a really good deep dive into this? I've looked at this budget quite a few times myself, and 3 meetings, 4 meetings. How much time in each meeting did you guys spend on actually digging into this? And
there was probably about a 5 to 10 minute presentation, then questions, and then we got into small groups to be able to just kind of talk with each other a little bit more deeply.
Yeah.
But 4 meetings it was not enough.
Yeah. You could just digging through that budget. I could pick a topic out of that any of that budget. You could spend a whole meeting on one topic. So I know it's tough, and try to put recommendations together that quick on this is, it's a lot of work, and I appreciate what you guys are doing, but those are some big recommendations, and money's hard to come by, I guess. So, I don't know. What do you guys think about having more meetings on this? Have you guys discussed doing that, or just kind of digging a little bit more into it?
I would be certainly interested in more meetings. I'm also fascinated by data and numbers. So this work was really interesting. I think we felt a bit unfinished. This work is really never done. So I think more meetings would be certainly beneficial. Again, recruiting more people and making it maybe a year-long committee, and then maybe even possibly having turns, recruiting more people. So I think certainly, like I said, the work is not done. There's a lot to go through, but it was quite informative and enlightening in a lot of ways.
Yeah, and the ball's rolling, so
Yes,
yeah, build some momentum, keep it going. Yeah, appreciate it.
we'll take that recommendation.
I just want to say how we didn't used to have budget committees. We were always just told what the numbers were. We had no input, and until it was LCAP. That LCAP time was the only time that we really got people involved, especially like parents and students. But I'm just really glad we reinstated this committee. It takes a lot of time. I just want to thank you both and all the committee members for putting the time in for this. And, you know, 4 meetings for something this important, something this vast isn't a lot, but it's better than the alternative. And I know that you put a lot of hard work into it, and I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. Just a quick clarification. We have always had this committee. Like, that's how I got involved in the school district, is because the committee recommended a parcel tax, and then they reached out to me. But we haven't had budget work studies. That's what we didn't have. Yeah. And so now we started to have board budget work studies. So doing the same work that the budget committee was doing, but as a board, so that it's ongoing both in the community and internally. But yeah, because I remember that's how I met like a lot of teacher, and Carew and other people were on that budget or committee initially before I started as a board member. Anything else?
I'll just like to thank you guys for your time. This presentation was very informative. I took the time and like read over the questions because I need to zoom in. And I think these are actually pretty good questions. Like, as they said, all of these questions can be like a whole meeting by themselves, because a lot of things can go like around. So yeah, it does take a lot of time to make a presentation, listen to people, what they wonder, and then actually like kind of together think more deeply about it. So thank you very much for your time. It was an amazing presentation too. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you so much for your service and taking the extra time, because we know you have so much free time. Bringing here, taking the extra time to do more work for the district. And just to put this out there, that these are recommendations. I know when we talk about any type of reduction, it kind of sets off alarms for people. But we have to have these conversations and consider all things to continue to be fiscally responsible as a school district. And that's one of the things I'm really proud of, is our transparency and fiscal responsibility. And that we will take these recommendations into consideration and have ongoing discussions with our superintendent and with our chief business officer, Deputy Van Raffhorst. And that the input doesn't end. That if you weren't on the committee, we still like reaching out to the members of the board or to our superintendent to continue to discuss these recommendations or any other recommendations that people may have when we go a deeper dive into our budget discussion and LCAP later in this year. So, and when I say LCAP, our action plan for our district and how we function as a district. So thank you very much for this work and for helping us start the conversation. And I hope to continue talking with you about managing our money.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, on to our action items. So the first thing, human resources, is a job description, adult school program teacher on special assignment at TOSA. Turning it over to Director Lujan.
Good evening, everyone. Before you is a new position or a job description for a new position, which would be a teacher on special assignment to support online instruction. Adult school, while most of the classes are in person, there are some courses just due to the student interest, and they are adult students that are offered online. And so we want to make sure that there's consistency and equitable access and the implementation of best practices. So we developed the job description in collaboration with adult school staff and with support from AFT 1481.
Perfect. Thank you. Unless there are any comments or questions, can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Consideration of future agenda items. Are there any items that any member wants to add to a future agenda? That's open for you guys too. So you can take that back. You want to have us talk about anything? Awesome. Seeing none. Can I get a motion to close to go back to for us to move and go back to closed session?
Actually, I would like to I'll move to adjourn, but before so, I want to applaud our student trustees for their incredible interactions tonight. So,
I want to second that. Yeah.
thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your contribution. We're so excited to work with you through the rest of the year. And with that, a motion to go back to close.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Right. We're adjourned, going back to closed session. Thank you so much.